Kristof, Positive Energy. It's been a minute since I've talked to you. Miguel and I were just having a chat this morning and realized we used to do informal videos frequently, and it's been a minute. I'm actually going to go down that path for just a second and just tell you, boy, have we been busy at Positive Energy. It's been like swimming underwater. We've grown so much, our expertise, our deliverables, our staff. Still an amazing group of people, super excited. I'll stop there, I won't go into any commercials. But so what I'm trying to do right now is recapture a conversation that Miguel and I had over coffee first thing this morning. And it was happening because this weekend was the AIA Austin Homes Tour. Really cool experience. Yay, AIA Austin Homes Tour participants and all the architects, amazing people that make that happen. The builders, the trades, and of course the architecture enthusiasts out there. And so what really came up was this idea of, well, I'll just say how it happened. So several times, I went to about 6 of the houses, and several times architects that I know came up to me and said, hey, how's it going? I haven't worked together with you in a while. I really want to work with you. Been tracking what Positive Energy's doing. I'm so grateful that you're out there doing that. And I'm just waiting for the right client to come along, just waiting for the right project to come along, and then we're going to work together. And there's a truth to that, right? There's a pragmatism to that. There's a reality to that that you can't argue with. And there's also a lot of richness there that I want to try to unpack a little bit, right? Because the clients want what they want based on what they know, based on their understanding. And part of the architect's role in society is to educate the clients and explain to them the context within which decisions are being made. And I have found, I mean, our role here at Positive Energy is always been like, I mean, look at this phone we're recording this thing on. It is literally close to the state of the art, and here it is, and the public wants it. And this building that I'm in is close to, roughly a 200-year-old technology, and generally not close to the state of the art. So what happens is clients assume, they're surrounded by sophisticated technologies, and they assume that their home is like on it. And therefore it's reasonable to think about the interior finishes and textures and things like that. And I think a lot of us in the industry, we know that that's not really the case. And so what I'm getting at here is, well, what we all do in the industry is we do kind of one thing, which is interesting. We try to do one thing. What we try to do is give our client a positive experience, a positive lived experience in their home, right? We try not to take too much domain outside of that. And positive lived experience, we're in the shady area of emotions now, right? They have some sort of expectations. If they're not met, you're going to get strong emotions. But fundamentally, let's think about what architecture is, right? We are primarily, as a mammal, we're visual creatures, right? We find food, right? Don't eat the red berries, or we look for symmetry in mating, and all sorts of protection strategies are based on visual protection. So we're very visual creatures, and this, combined with our neocortex and our culturally derived personalities, sets our preferences. So we have certain preferences in society, right? And they change gradually over time as culture changes. Just look at the downtown, skyscrapers, right? They used to have windows and now they're just all glass, right? That's just one example. But my point is being that there are these ways that we interact indirectly with our clients' lived experience in terms of their direct emotions. And they are, oh, it's beautiful. And then they have a positive experience. Or, oh, I was clever and I arranged it so that I didn't spend as much as I would have had to get the home, right? That's sort of a strategy for feeling like the client was on their game and the team was on their game. And there's definitely a reality to that. And then there's also the reality that there are direct experiences that don't go through your neocortex, they don't go through your personality. They are the temperature of the space, which is fairly direct, and that might go through your personality, actually. That's a bad one to start with. But things like air quality, you could slowly be getting asthma and you wouldn't know it, and no one would get blamed for it. Maybe that's why it's off the table. But the point here is that there are many ways you can go directly to a client's felt sense of a space, right? Keep it quiet, keep the temperatures within certain ranges, and I mean the surface temperatures as well as the air temperatures, control humidity, control gases, particulates. Okay, that was a bit of an excursion into like, we're all doing this one thing, we're trying to make our clients happy, and then we're also trying to make ourselves happy, right? And support our families with this thing that's our job, right? We've set our sights on this career, and those of you who are architects, oh my gosh, I am now well aware of the difficulty of becoming an architect, not just the licensure, but the whole hazing ritual of getting through college and then sort of the indentured servitude you enter the workforce in. I mean, it's rough, right? So it can be rough, and it can be sort of sublime too, right? You enter this role as an architect, and if you're lucky, you get to design someone's home. And one thing you could do is, you don't have to go through that whole excursion, like explain to the client all the myriad ways their body interacts and their limbic system, their emoting system will be influenced by a space directly. You could simply think of it as, my role in society is to determine what I consider to be the appropriate home to build. And there are things in that context which are non-negotiable, right? High quality enclosure, which helps with air quality and sound and dominates your thermal experience, right? It's the gift that keeps on giving, you know, the enclosure does the heavy lifting. And then all the myriad systems for heat and cooling and drying and filtration and humidity control, right? Those should be non-negotiable. Maybe what is negotiable are things that are more technology focused that you could add later, something like that. But, you know, building out a healthy low carbon materials, maybe you say that's non-negotiable. Recognizing the fact that we're at a huge inflection point society-wide in terms of energy and water systems, and that the home can be really thought of as a space to thinking of it as shelter, and knowing that without reliable high-quality flows of energy and potable water, it's not much of a shelter, right? So we can get into resilient energy and water systems as non-negotiable. Yeah, and so this is a lot to hold. I'm trying to there's a couple more quick thoughts. One is, actually it's two last thoughts I'll leave you with. One of them, a good friend of mine, is an architect, says you get what you do, right? As an architect, the type of work you get is very much related to what the type of work you do. And you know, there's a chicken and egg circularity here, right? You get a certain type of project because you're known for doing that type of project. And the second one, you can kind of get past that, right? I don't know if we all see it, but those of us, and there's probably a lot of you out there, who have read myriad books on climate change, who are listening to podcasts about the energy transition, who understand the impacts of indoor environmental quality and air quality on our health and well-being, and who see the writing on the wall that there is no way around it. The 2020s, maybe you want to say the early 2030s, I don't know what you want to say, but we are in a period of tremendous change. And there are people out there right now, like individual people, leaders of firms, maybe people more junior in firms, that have the opportunity, like a limited time opportunity to brand, to recognize that the brands of the future are the ones that now stand up and say, this is what matters to me. These are my non-negotiables. Quick shout out to Scott and Rommel and Trey and all the amazing people at Forgecraft who have just said in Austin, within the last year, we only do single family residential passive house projects, right? That's brand strength. And you know, wherever market you're in, you have the chance to do that. You know, whether Living Building Challenge or Passive House or the Well Building Standard, if you're in that kind of program and project, this has to happen. This has to change. And this sort of one person at a time, not like being coming down from on high. The AIA says thou shalt change, and in fact the AIA does say thou shalt change, but the way it really happens is this sort of distributed, bottom-up, asynchronous, chaotic market transition, right? Like no one went out and said to me, you're gonna buy an electric car or you're gonna have a heat pump instead of a furnace, right? This is the way it happens. And so just kind of wanted to share that with you. This all came out of this little conversation about having several people having said, just waiting for the right client. So I'll leave it there. Hope to do more of these. Bye, y'all.